Hey guys, it's Reaper Production Tips here, and this is the first YouTube video that I'm ever filmed for this YouTube channel. And this channel is kind of a passion project of mine, if you will. Um, Really, it's about Reaper, but I'm I'm giving you tutorials on production. In addition, interwoven in these production tutorials, and I will do mixing and mastering as well, but that's secondary to production. Is really a bunch of tips and tricks on Reaper, and if you will, just sort of integrated Reaper tutorials. And so I really want to go in on why I use Reaper, what it is. A lot of people don't even know what it is. It's actually surprisingly a pretty underground DAW, if you will. Um, uh, and also, why I kind of started making music and what inspires me to bring this content to you guys. So, let's start out with Reaper. Really, what is Reaper? So Reaper is a open source, pretty much free until you have to pay maybe $60 if you don't want to deal with the little window that says evaluation on it. It's pretty much, other than that, free software. Is pretty bust, and it's pretty much the value for the price is pretty much unparalleled. I've never seen anything even come close. I'd say that Reaper, even in its most basic uncustomized form, easily competes with any industry standard DAW out there. So, some pros to Reaper are because it's cheap, and at the time when I started using it, I was on a budget. Like most producers, most musicians, they don't have like millions of dollars to spend on software and all this other stuff. And B, it is extremely versatile, and it's pretty much capable of doing anything at the capacity of other DAWs. And when I say that, there's caveats there, but I'll get to that later. And C, just because of the low CPU intensity, like the low CPU usage, Reaper really doesn't use very much processing power at all. It's really low profile in that regard, and that's super convenient for someone who may be using a laptop or may not have the most disposable processing power to allocate towards something like, one DAW, and they want to have like a Google Chrome tab open at the same time. If you're using Reaper, that won't be a problem, but if you have a older generation laptop, then you're going to run into some massive audio glitches, possible recording corruption type stuff if your processor's overloaded. So that can become a serious problem. So those are really three reasons why I use Reaper. And there's many more pros, but those are the ones that come off the top of my head. And some cons to Reaper, of course, there's always cons. Number one, it does not have the most appealing background in its basic form. It's pretty boring. It's basically, you could say like the gray office building of DAWs. It's bare, it's austere, it's what it needs to be. It gets straight to business. And that's fine with me, but to some people, they could see that as a con. They want a cool looking DAW with this really cool looking IO and all that, and Pro Tools or other DAWs definitely offer that. B, its stock plugins are pretty garbage. I mean, they're capable enough, but beyond that, I mean, pretty much anything outside of very basic editing and sound editing, you're going to need third-party plugins, and I'm personally fine with that again. But if you're not really able to, you don't really want to spend the energy and time, and believe me, it can be a time waster and sort of turn off for some people. And C, other than that, I'd spread it all. It's a pretty niche community that uses Reaper, so that tutorial information that's readily available out there for other DAWs like Ableton and others like that for production and stuff just really doesn't exist for Reaper. And that's really where I come in, because I've been producing on Reaper for a while and I want to impart some of my knowledge on new producers. To the reason why I created this channel, I've kind of looked around the internet and I really don't see all that much quality content out there at all on Reaper. It seems like Reaper's been kind of ignored as a DAW, and I see plenty on mixing and mastering, but especially production, I really don't see very much at all. So that's one area where I'm definitely going to be. So there we go. Those are my pros and cons for Reaper. Moving on, for my channel, that's really going to be a strong theme there is I'm really going to focus on production. Like I said, production in Reaper, but really production in general as well. And that means all music. I mean, I know that it seems like I'd specify like I do EDM and a lot of stuff like that, but I can also play a bunch of other instruments, so I'm really trying to explore that area more in my video as well, or in my videos, is more, maybe creating indie rock or other home recording, that's another thing, especially with Reaper. So from there, let's move on to just a little message to all the new music producers out here, and just a little tip, and I like to end my videos out with a little tip, is that you should try to produce quantity over quality. And if something, go for 80%, don't go for 100%. You should strive for 80%. If you go to 100% at a period like this, you will never finish a track, and your confidence will slowly degrade, and you'll get tired, and you'll pick up a track for a while and then move on, and it'll never be good enough, and it'll never be finished. So really strive to finish the track and be done with it and move on to another track. No one's telling you that you can only make a certain amount of tracks in a year or in any given time. You can make as many tracks as you want. That's the beauty of music, but that's my piece of advice for you. Anyway, thanks for watching. And I actually have a website that I'm going to be posting pretty soon as well, with some services and some other stuff on there, some resources for you guys. So, thank you very much, and have a good day. Going to this